Flosstube. It's been a while. I really don't know where the weeks have gone. I've had another really good month this month, stitching wise. I've got quite a lot done, so I will just crack straight on and show it you. I have a finish. I'm going to show you that first. I need to put something behind it. I stitched, well, I started and finished this month. Let me find you the picture. So this is out of Cross Stitch Gold issue 134, and I stitched the Oriental Princess by Leslie Tier. This was a bit of a challenge for me. There were lots of fractionals and a lot of back stitch and a lot of French knots. Sorry, something just popped up on my phone. Some of the French knots were in Krennic, which actually were easier than the normal. So this is stitched on 28 count Lugana from Chromatic Alchemy. I think it was called Realgar. It's like a peachy orange. I'm so chuffed with this. I think this is probably my most accomplished piece that I've done. So there's Krennic French knots in her hair. Those flowers are wrong. I could not get them right. I think 3 times. And the same mistake I made on those up there, I made on the same ones down there. But there's quite a bit of detail. Oh, it's making my arm ache. So I've had a new tattoo this week. Stung like a bitch. Excuse my French. So that was a start and a finish for April. I found that once I started it, I couldn't put it down, I couldn't stop, so I finished that. Just need to find a really nice frame for it now. So I had a new tattoo down there with some blackberries and leaves, sort of to fill that gap. It's still really swollen. So sore down there. I think he's going to sort of carry some of the leaves and berries just to fill that gap there. So that was this week. Right, so that was that. I worked on Big Red Ship for a little while. I haven't got the pattern. You all know what it looks like. So I had a little bit to finish on that page there, which was, I think I finished it in the night. I stand up. And then I started and finished this page here. I'm going to get back to this. There's someone I'm following on Instagram that is like really far down, and every time I see her update, I think, oh God, I must get that back out. But there's so much to stitch, isn't there? I also worked on Faces of Fairy from Heaven and Earth Designs. I think last time you saw it, I'd done to the bottom of there, and I think I just got to the top of her eye. So her face is coming on now. And I wanted to finish her hair before I went on to something else at least. And I ran out of 938, but I did raid my whip pile and found one in there. I've also worked on the Stitch Rovia charity sale that I've been doing, and it comes out on each part comes out on the 1st of each month, and the 1st of April was this one from Albert Einstein. That pink was you just sort of have to sit and go through it. And then the next part that came out on the 1st of May is a quote from Audrey Hepburn, and it's, "The best thing to hold on to in life is each other." And that's that one. It's more pink. You can see the picture there. That's what it's going to look like. So I've made a small start. I'm trying to get a lot of the pink done. So I'm going to finish, I'm working on that at the moment. I'm going to finish that quote. We're going away this weekend. I'm whisking my hubby away. It's his 50th on Monday. So we're going to Oxford for the weekend, which we're so excited about. So it will be lots of lovely food and drink and probably no stitching. But I'm going to try and do the majority of that before we go. I worked on something else. Did I show you my Debbie Patrick that I finished? Sorry, making you bounce. I'm going to show you quickly because I can't remember if I showed it. Pier Street. I think I showed. I can't remember if I showed it. But that was a finish. So if I didn't show it, I've had 2 finishes this month, in April. I wanted to give a little tip. You know when you frame something and you've got an awkward size frame? We found some really cheap frames in Wilkinson's, which is a shop in the UK that does bits of everything really. And these cheap little 6x4 just plain black frames, they're 50p, and we needed a frame that was long and thin, and you have to have them made, don't you, and it can be quite costly. So we bought one of these. Well, I bought 2 because we had to practice, and we bought an A4 size one, and we took the sides of that one and attached them to the, we haven't finished it yet, and attached it to the sides of the A4 one. I don't know if you can, they've got little metal corner things in there with little serrated edges, so you can pull them apart, take those out, and then put it back together, and the serrated edge sort of holds the pieces together. But that is now like I think it's a 14 by 6, which, you know, if you need a, it's not going to be the exact size we want, but with a mount in there, that's ideal. And I think the A4 one was £2.40, and these little ones are 50p, and they do 5x7 and 8x10. So you can sort of mix and match and make your own frame. So I just thought I'd show that for sort of people in the UK. They're sort of cheap plastic frames, but a fraction of the cost. If you just want to frame something quick or like an awkward size and don't want to spend too much, they're ideal. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you that. I need to show something to Vonna. Just 1 second. When I did I turned you around, I don't know if it was last time or the time before, and showed you sort of my gallery wall. She asked about the blonde, and it was my first Heaven and Earth that I finished, and it's called Alice in Clockwork. I think it's a QS. Oh, there we go. Ignore the frame because I really don't like the frame. I am going to reframe it at some point. And she just asked what it was, so I thought I'd just show it quickly to Vonna. But yeah, that's really nice. That was my first ever Heaven and Earth. And 1 more second, sorry. I just wanted to show again my giant Harry Potter, how I finished it, because Steph was asking. So I made it into a wall hanging, and all I did was, I can't remember how wide they are. So I think I cut 2-inch strips, and I sewed a strip down each side and then a strip across top and bottom. And then the backing fabric I placed on the top, right sides together, sewed it all around the 3 edges, turned it the right way out, and then hand sewed across the bottom. So it's a bit like making a cushion or pillow cover. It's the same principle, and I wanted to explain about the things on the back. I made these little triangle things and I pinned those in between the two pieces of fabric when I sewed all the way around. I did get it wrong because I couldn't work out which way they needed to be. So when you turned it the right way out, these have made two little pockets, and then we've stuck a dowel rod and a little hook, and it just hangs like that. It's quite, these aren't like exactly, and I think it's a little bit wonky. I think in between the two pieces I put some, you know, the fusible fleece that you can use to make the project bags. I put a layer of that in between just to give it a bit of thickness so it hung properly. So I just wanted to show that as well for Steph. I did try and explain in my message, but it's hard to explain in words, isn't it? I've got a new magazine and I'm going to do a very quick flip through. It's Cross Stitch Gold issue 138. There's not an awful lot in this one this month. So that's designed by Carol Thornton. Little country house. It's quite cute. This one is Edwardian Garden, but I'm not sure about her face, but it's a nice chart, and that's Shannon W, but I can't pronounce her surname. And then this is designed by Maria Diaz. Little beach scene. That's nice. There's so many good patterns each month in these magazines. I really don't need to buy any more charts. I haven't really been buying a lot of charts, but there's Pussycat. They've turned that into a cushion. That's by Leslie Tier. I love the butterflies that she puts in her designs. They're really nice. And then this has been made into a wall hanging. This is quite nice. That's by Doreen Jones. I think she's got a couple in here this month. It's very spring-like chart. She's got a little tutorial there as well about how to mount it onto a basket or whatever. How to mount it into a wall hanging. And then another one from Maria Diaz. Is that a kingfisher? Yeah, kingfisher. She made that into a hoop. I've never finished anything into a hoop yet. And this one I quite like. This is Doreen Jones as well. There's always time for tea and cake. A lot of backstitch on there. I still can't get it neat. I find it neater because that Charity Quotes one, there's quite a lot of backstitch on that. Oh, that's by Stitch Rovia, by the way, I forgot to say. I find it's neater with two strands for me. And then Fiona Baker has done these. Paris, New York, London, Pisa. They're quite nice actually. They look nice in one of those frames with the 4 separate. That's it. And then coming next month, which I'm super excited about, there's a ballerina which is really, really nice, and that's sunflower cushion. I've collected quite a few of these cushion floral patterns now from these magazines. And then there's another oriental one, Oriental Majesty, which would look quite nice with my princess. Nice poppy door thing. And then, look at that peacock. Definitely going to do that. That's the first thing I do when I get this magazine, is look what's coming next. that poppy meadow would look nice in a long rectangle frame, which you could make from piecing together those cheap Wilko ones. I think that's it. I've had a fabric of the month, which is very nice. It's 28 count Jaslyn and it's lazurite. It's a really lovely purpley blue. It's really nice. I love Jaslyn. It's so soft. It seems more tightly woven than Lugana. So I tend to stick with Jaslyn now. But as far as my plans go for May, I haven't really got plans as such. I'm going to finish the quote, the Stitch Rovia quote. I was going to try and work my way down Faces of Fairy and just finish that page and do the partial page, but Big Red Ship is really calling to me. And like April, I might have another spontaneous start and finish. Well, not necessarily a finish, but when I have these spontaneous starts, I do tend to want to finish them. I have got some, I have kitted up. Look at these fab colours. I can't show you the chart because it's a surprise. So it's some secret stitching. But I'm doing it on 18 count white Aida. And those are the colours. I can tell you it's another Stitch Rovia design. But I can't show you the chart because the person that it's for possibly watches, so I'm not sure. I think that is it. I did pull a load of fabrics. I've bought quite a few quilting magazines lately and I've pulled a load of scraps from my stash. I want to have a go at the quilt as you go method of quilting because I think it'll be easier than wrestling the huge quilt through my machine. I'm just gonna, I've got loads of scraps and I seem to have accumulated lots of sort of browns and greens. So there's all sorts in there. I'm going to try and do a scrappy quilt as you go method, and then make a big bedspread for my bed, or a throw to go downstairs on the couch, and then sort of when the winter comes you can just pull it over you in the evening. But I can't decide on a block style. I don't know whether to do log cabin or a 9-patch quilt, 9-patch block, or I don't want to make it too complicated a block because it takes quite a lot of time then, doesn't it, cutting. I do like triangles. I like the look of triangles and they're fairly straightforward. So that I'm hoping to get that started in May, at least all the cutting, once I decide what type of block. I don't think I've worked on anything else, and I don't think I haven't bought anything either, so I've been pretty good this year. I haven't bought hardly anything, just the odd bits of thread I've run out of. So I'm sure that's it. Yes. So my plans are just sort of finish that one, go with the flow and whatever calls to me. I've gone back on Facebook actually, but I've left quite a few groups and sorted out my thing. So when I do go on there, I'm not like on there for ages and ages trawling through everything, as lovely as it is to see everybody's posts. So I think I'm just in 2 now, which is nice. And I'm seriously behind on Flosstube. And I'm in endeavour to answer all the comments from the last month's video. I really just don't know where the time's gone this month. It's just gone. But I've watched a few. I'm loving the Mania plans. I've tried to watch a few of the more recent videos. I'm still watching a few Christmas ones as well, I think. But I am trying to watch the recent ones as well. I'm not commenting or anything because I'm just like putting it on autoplay and just, I think my watch later list is something like 356. So Yes. Have a great stitchy month. I'm looking forward to seeing all your Mania updates. I'm not doing it this year, just going with the flow. So I got a bit stressed out last year. I enjoyed it, but I did get a little bit stressed out with everything. So, but yeah, keep them coming. I'm loving watching them. Anyway, have a great stitchy month, and I will see you in a few weeks. Goodbye.